On June 12, 2026, a bell rang in Starbase, Texas, and one of the most admired engineering companies on Earth became one of the most expensive stocks on it. SpaceX priced its IPO at $135 a share, and by the close of its first day, it was up 19% to around $161, already the largest IPO in history, and it kept climbing. By June 16th, the stock was near $211, up about 56% from its offer price, putting the company's market value above $2.5 trillion. Normally, this is where the triumphant music comes in. The company that lands rockets finally lets the public buy in, and the public says yes, loudly. But a price like that isn't a description of what a company is. It's a claim about what it's going to become, and $2.5 trillion is a very large claim. So the real question isn't whether SpaceX is a good company. It's what you're buying at that price, and why the stock can swing this hard, this fast. From there, we can look at the critical milestones and metrics that will help you form a clearer picture of what could drive this stock price next. If you only know SpaceX from the headlines, you'd assume this was a bet on rockets. The prospectus opens with the mythology: cracking the code on access to space, the Falcon family of rockets, landing a booster back from orbit before anyone thought it was possible. But in the box where a company tells regulators what industry it's in, SpaceX didn't file under aerospace. When a traditional space and satellite business like Loral/Space Systems/Loral appeared in old aerospace filings, it lived near the aerospace shelf. SpaceX, the company that lands rockets, filed under the software and data processing shelf. It's a small thing, but it lines up with how the company wants to be read. In its pitch to investors, SpaceX laid out a total addressable market of about $28.5 trillion. About $26 trillion of it is AI. Only around $2.4 trillion is the concrete part. The data centers and computing power, the business you can actually point to today. The other $22.7 trillion sits under the heading Enterprise Applications. The rockets are the brand, the AI is the market. So stop thinking of SpaceX as one company. Think of it as three businesses sharing one stock. And the important part is that they're connected, like links in a chain. Starlink, the satellite internet network, is the only one reliably making money today. It's the wallet. Its cash helps pay for the rest. That cash flows into Starship, the giant new rocket. Starship isn't meant to earn money. It's meant to make reaching space far cheaper. And cheap launch is the lever that lifts the other two. It's how Starlink puts up enough satellites to keep growing, and the only realistic path to one day running data centers in orbit. Cheap launch is also what unlocks the third business, AI. It's the smallest today, but by far the biggest in the pitch. The future payday the whole story points toward. It's also the only one that doesn't yet pay for itself. Here's the machine. The wallet funds the lever, and the lever unlocks the prize. Starlink is the responsible adult with a paycheck, carrying two expensive, but genuinely promising, hobbies. So you don't get to $2.5 trillion by counting what SpaceX earns today. You get there by pricing in the prize at the end of the chain. So the stock isn't a bet on one business, it's a bet that the whole chain holds. A stock priced on three links in a row will lurch every time one of them looks shaky, which is why before you can judge the machine, you have to judge the links, one at a time, starting with the only one already running. The least science fiction thing SpaceX does, selling monthly internet subscriptions, is the part actually making money. Starlink, its satellite broadband network, is the company's largest business by revenue. Of roughly $18.7 billion in total revenue last year, Starlink was the biggest slice. And according to the filing, it has around 10.3 million subscribers and an EBITDA margin near 63%. That's not a moonshot burning cash to grow. It's a large, recurring revenue business with real profit, the kind most internet providers would quietly envy. It works because of the rest of the company. Almost every other satellite internet operator has to pay someone else to launch its hardware. SpaceX doesn't. It builds the satellites, builds and reuses the rockets, and sells the service on top. At a launch cost no rival can match. That's the moat. Cheap launch in, subscriptions out. But the most interesting thing about Starlink isn't what it sells today. It's where SpaceX wants to point the platform next. 4 days before the IPO, the company unveiled AI-1, its first orbital data center satellite built on the same Starlink V3 hardware. The idea is to stop seeing Starlink as only an internet network and start seeing it as a factory and launch system that could put computing power in orbit instead of broadband. And the hard part of computing in space isn't the chips, it's heat. On Earth, a data center dumps heat into air and water. In orbit, there's neither, so the only way out is to radiate it away. That's why the centerpiece of AI-1 isn't a processor. It's a radiator, a 110 square meter panel that SpaceX claims sheds heat more efficiently than anything flown before, turned edge-on to the sun so it loses warmth without absorbing it. Here's the subjective part. If that radiator works as advertised, Starlink stops being just a very good internet company and becomes the on-ramp to a business computing in orbit. The bridge from selling broadband into the huge AI build-out the whole valuation is chasing. SpaceX is talking about a gigawatt of orbital compute by late 2027 and 100 gigawatts by 2030. If it doesn't work, it stays a slide in a deck, and the doubts are real. At least one detailed independent analysis argues the radiator would have to be meaningfully bigger just to break even, and that hardware in orbit costs more to launch and is harder to fix and upgrade than a building on the ground. For now, AI-1 is a prototype plan, not a product. The disciplined way to value it is as a free option. Real upside if it flies, but not something to pay for as though it's already done. So to judge whether this turns Starlink from a good business into a spectacular one, 4 signals matter. The big one, the 2 prototype AI-1 satellites SpaceX plans to launch in early 2027. And whether that radiator actually rejects heat in orbit the way the slide promises. Then the new Gigasat factory in Texas coming online and building satellites at rate. Then the thing no slide can fake, a paying outside customer for orbital compute. And finally, that late 2027 gigawatt target, hit or quietly slipping. Each one moves this from a story into a number. The whole upside case on more satellites, more capacity, eventually data centers in orbit, comes down to one number: the cost of putting mass into space. Drop that cost far enough and absurd-sounding ideas start to pencil out. Keep it high and they stay theoretical. That's Starship's job. A next-generation, fully reusable rocket built to push the price of reaching orbit sharply down. Cheap enough to launch the thousands of satellites Starlink needs and to make orbital computing more than a slide. SpaceX has bent this curve before. The old space shuttle era put payload into orbit at tens of thousands of dollars per kilogram, often estimated around $20,000 to more than $50,000 per kilo. Falcon 9, by landing and reusing just its first stage, the booster, cut that to roughly $2,700 a kilo. But that's only the booster coming home. The upper stage is still thrown away every flight. Starship is the attempt to finish the job. Reuse both stages, carry far more payload, 100 to 150 tons at a time, and fly far more often. Put those together and SpaceX is targeting somewhere near $200 a kilogram. That number isn't random. It's roughly the point where putting data centers in orbit stops being fantasy and starts being arithmetic. Here's the catch. As recently as May 2026, weeks before the IPO, Starship was still flying test missions. Its 12th test flight lifting off from Starbase. That's not a knock. It's how hard engineering gets done. But the cost curve has one specific piece still missing: the upper stage coming home. Reusing the booster, SpaceX has done many times over. Bringing the second stage back and flying it again, the half that separates a $200 launch from a merely cheaper one, hasn't been demonstrated yet. Call it the cost bet, a credible promise from a company that has delivered before, but still a promise. Which tells you what to watch. The big one, a Starship upper stage returning from orbit and flying again. The missing milestone and the single event that turns this cost curve from a model into a fact. Then cadence. Not one test every few months, but dozens of flights a year. and then any real number SpaceX attaches to an actual flight to check against the targets on the slide. Until those arrive, the curve is a forecast, not a price. That's the quiet tension under the rocket footage. Cheap launch is the enabler. The thing it's meant to enable, the reason the filings market is mostly AI, is where the real money and the real risk live. It starts with a merger. In February 2026, SpaceX absorbed xAI, Elon Musk's AI company, maker of the Grok chatbot. And with it came Colossus, a massive data center near Memphis, originally built to train Grok. Here's the twist. Instead of running that compute for its own AI, SpaceX mostly rents it out to rivals. Anthropic, a direct competitor, leases the whole thing for $1.25 billion a month. Google signed a second deal worth about $920 million a month. Together, that's roughly $26 billion a year. So the business that's supposed to justify the valuation is today basically a landlord, renting computing power to its own competitors. Why a landlord and not an AI powerhouse in its own right? Because the in-house effort struggled. Grok's division lost about $6.35 billion in 2025, and all 11 of xAI's original co-founders left. The clearest sign came last week. 4 days after the IPO, SpaceX paid $60 billion in stock to buy Cursor, an AI coding tool. Having failed to build a flagship product, it bought one. So how does a landlord become something more? Here's the real ambition. Stop renting computers on Earth and start building them in space. And SpaceX isn't alone. Google, a startup called StarCloud, and chipmaker NVIDIA are all chasing the same idea. The difference is that SpaceX owns the whole chain: the rocket, the satellite, the factory, the chips, plus the cheap launch everyone else depends on. Here's the subjective part. If computing in space actually works, SpaceX stops being a landlord and becomes something like the backbone of AI itself. The company everyone has to launch through. If it doesn't, this engine stays exactly what it is now: a landlord renting to rivals, while the biggest promise in the whole filing stays a dream. So watch 3 signals. 1. Starship's launch cost falling far enough to make orbit cheaper than the ground. 2. SpaceX selling its own computing power in space, instead of just renting GPUs on Earth. Landlord becoming provider. 3. Whether rivals like Google actually get real work running up there. Each one tells you whether this future is arriving or slipping away. Put it together: renting GPUs, a $60 billion coding company, and a plan for data centers in space. One engine, Starlink, earns. Everything else spends. The question is whether one engine can carry all of it. So after all of that, the question you came in with, is it a buy? The honest answer is that it's really 2 questions. First, is SpaceX a great company? On the evidence, it's hard to say no. It lands rockets that used to be thrown away, it built the largest satellite internet business on the planet, and made it profitable, and it has done what serious people said couldn't be done. More than once. The IPO that came out of all that is the biggest in history. None of that is in doubt. But that doesn't answer the second question. Is the stock a good buy at this price? Because a great company and a great investment aren't the same thing. You can be completely right about the rockets and still lose money on the price you paid. The bag nobody wants isn't a broken company. It's a wonderful one, bought too expensive. And remember what this price is paying for, not just Starlink's cash today, but Starship getting cheap on schedule, the AI business growing from a landlord into a real product, and the market's tailwinds and the thin float, the index buying, all holding at once. So this isn't where we tell you to buy or sell. We don't know what happens next, and anyone who claims they do is selling something. What we can give you is what to watch. And by now, you have it. Track those, and you're not guessing. You're deciding with your eyes open. Because the bet was never really about whether SpaceX can do the impossible. It already has, and probably will again. The bet is whether everyone who paid this much to come along gets to share in it. If you've got cash to burn, welcome to the Bagholder Association. And if you'd rather keep yours, subscribe. We'll watch billion-dollar companies burn theirs instead.